Wow, I don't know if you can see me on the screen yet or not. But it was so much fun to see everybody at Unity of London dancing and having such a great time. That's one of the things that I've been missing. Being many, many miles away is actually seeing the people who are there. So that is just fabulous. So thanks very much for turning that camera around and letting us really feel, even though we are many miles away, that we are part of the service there, that we can connect with you. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity of London. And as we come together this morning, we are grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with our Unity community. And that's our Unity community on Zoom, our Unity community on Nelson Street, our Unity community anywhere that may be listening to this at a later date. And so it's just fabulous. So thanks everybody for being part of this celebratory time this morning. So in June, our power for the month is imagination, which is the ability to conceptualize and envision a different future. Imagination is located between the eyes. It's almost like the third eye. And so together we affirm, I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. And so we'll have this song, The Face of God. So that's just something that we can imagine too.
We're muted, right?
Hmm?
We're muted.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu sei il volto dell'amore.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. 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 La luce di Dio. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the
So once again, welcome to everyone who is there in person, who is on the screen, and whose faces maybe we can't even see this morning. People like Ron, Gil, and Sylvia. We know that Catherine and Larry, their smiling faces will show up at some point. So thank you very much for being here, everyone that's out there in Zoom land and that is there in person at Unity of London. We are just so grateful that you are here today. So our vision at Unity of London, as most of us all know, is that our vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. So we think about shared spiritual awakening, and what is that, and how do we have that happen? Well, our mission is that co-creating with spirit to transform lives. That's what we do through our shared spiritual awakening, is that we transform lives. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we are a loving, inclusive, supportive community, that we welcome everyone of all faiths and all inclinations. We welcome them. We are inclusive. We also promote self-expression, so that means that you can show up in the world being who you are, a face of God, like that song by Karen Drucker said so eloquently. Because if we don't do that, then our life, it just lacks spontaneity and joy. And so we show up being self-expression also in service to others. So we follow and believe the 5 principles. So the first one is God is absolutely good and everywhere, all the time. The second one is that I am a divine being, and that I have a spark of divinity within me. The third one is that we create our experiences by the activity of our thinking. Often we hear that expressed as thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. The fourth one is that through prayer and meditation, we connect with that God mind that brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. And the fifth one is even though we can believe in our heads the 4 principles, the fifth principle is that knowing and understanding, we live the beliefs that, well, the things that we believe. We live that. It's not just good enough to know it. We have to live it too. So the other thing that we can do is we can be the change. We can make a difference by being of service, by reaching out, by making a positive difference in the world ourselves. If we wake up every morning and we imagine, as I mentioned, that's the power of the month. If we imagine the differences that we can make for people that we can be the change in this world in our own corner, in our own way. And also, too, we follow the unity principles by providing fellowship and education for everyone, whether it's showing up at this service, whether it is being involved with our book studies or lessons online, whatever. We can do that to expand everything that we believe that will make this world a better place and transform lives. Okay, so this morning, our prayer chaplains, I will be a prayer chaplain online for anyone who may need prayer. And also Sylvia Vanderhook is live at 501 Nelson, so she will happily be a prayer chaplain for anyone there. So today we have a few announcements. And so today, after Sunday service, Amber Needham is going to be signing copies of her book, The Blind Girl Sees. And for those of you who were able to attend last week's lesson, Amber gave a very inspirational talk on developing that book and how she has not just overcome, but has thrived in a situation that for some of us may just have seemed very, very overwhelming. So for those of you on Nelson Street, get your books, get them signed. And thank you, Amber, for doing that. Now, next week on June the 12th, there's going to be a town hall meeting that's going to be held at 11:45 following the Sunday service. So what will happen is for the people on Nelson Street, they will get their fellowship goodies, come back into the sanctuary, and we will start at 11:45. So for those of us on Zoom, please hang around to find out what's unfolding and what's going to unfold at Unity of London. And then, of course, the following week, June 19th, after the Sunday service, there will be a celebration of life for our dear friend who passed, Lois Colbert, and Reverend Kathy Bro will be leading that in person. And so we look forward to celebrating Lois's life because we know what a bright light she was. Now, Unity's foundation is affirmative prayer, and Silent Unity has been praying with and for people for over 130 years. And so don't forget, or please remember, that Silent Unity is open 24/7, every day, every hour of the year. And they can be reached at 1-800-NOW-PRAY. And so we also invite anyone who is in person at Unity to put a name of anyone that they are holding in prayer that they would like additional prayer for in the prayer box at the front of the room. And those names will be forwarded to Silent Unity to be prayed over for the coming month. And so as we go into prayer today, I just ask, if you wish, to please close your eyes and just make that conscious connection to the divine spirit within you. And we just breathe, making that connection. And as we go into prayer, we bless everyone attending all spiritual gatherings, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. And today we bless a woman who has committed her life to the service of her people, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who celebrates her 70th year on the throne of England. And whether you believe in the monarchy or not, I think that we can all come together in our belief that in her own way, she has influenced many world leaders and has proved to be steadfast, strong, and centered in many, many situations. So we bless her. We bless her. And we continue to hold peace for every situation in the world, praying that calm minds and loving hearts will prevail. We lift up anyone who is experiencing any challenges, knowing that they have the strength and the love of the divine spirit surrounding them right now, and they have the imagination to see a better world, a different situation. So we take this opportunity to hold anyone that you wish in blessings and prayer, and to speak their names quietly into this space now. And we also bless our fellow Unity organizations, and today especially Unity Vancouver, and a place that is very close to our own hearts, Unity of London. And so as we move forth in this day, we understand and affirm that I am one with all that is, and so it is, and so I let it be. Amen. And this morning, our platform assistant, Don Briglio, will read the daily word.
Good morning, all. Today's daily word is entitled Truth. The light of truth shines in my heart, like a kaleidoscope, shifting patterns of dazzling colors. My life is always changing. Some of the changes I may like, and others I may not, but I accept the changes nonetheless. I enjoy pleasurable moments while learning and growing through the more unpleasant ones. No matter where I find myself along the spectrum of human experience, I take comfort in spiritual truth. God is changeless, my rock and refuge in times of struggle, and the wings that lift me in times of ease and bliss. I remain steady and calm even as I navigate life's inevitable changes, finding lasting comfort in the truth of God as absolute goodness. As I travel along my unique path, the steady light of truth shines from within me. Yet I am writing you a new commandment that is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is always shining. 1 John 2, verse 8. Our speaker, Pauline, has been a prayer chaplain and spiritual presenter at Unity of London since 2012. She's a past president of the board of Unity of London and currently continues her journey towards licensing as a Unity teacher. Last Tuesday, Pauline completed teaching her third Unity course online. With her message today about developing our power of imagination, please help me welcome Pauline Duncan-Thrasher.
Thanks, Don. Thank you. Thank you very much, Don. What a joy to see so many smiley faces here. Yay, Unity of London. I know that my friend Scott is in the audience, and he is seeing this purple bag and wondering, what is in that purple bag? Well, Scott, I won't leave you wondering much longer. Today's about imagination. And all of you have it. You were born with a vivid imagination. And you rejoiced in it. But somewhere along the line, it got really small. What happened to that imagination? Did the world scrunch it Such a sad thought. And then got even smaller. I was going to talk about all the famous leaders, all the famous inventors today. And over the week, I changed my mind. This past week was a week of tumultuous opening for me. And it involved a trip to urgent care. Don't worry, as you can see, I'm still alive and well. But in urgent care, after many x-rays, and after witnessing the pain of so many individuals, pain that put my pain in the shadows, I realized that imagination can drag us down, just like a rock dropping us to the bottom of the lake. We have pain, we're not used to it, and we start to imagine the worst. I walked in because I'd broken my wrist, thinking, with this pain, it must be broken again. No, thankfully, no, Larry, it was not broken again. And after many x-rays, the doctor gave me something. You might be familiar with this. If you've ever suffered pain or broken a bone, this is called a stabilizer. Put it on, strap it on, and it steadies the hurt part. So you're saying, well, Pauline, what in the world does this have to do with imagination? A whole lot. Because when we find our imagination dwindling, when our big, mighty dreams just left all their power, as though it just seeped out of us like the air out of that balloon. When we find that happening, we can do lots to revive it. We can stabilize it. And you can guess where I'm going with this. We stabilize it by our belief in divine presence, by our connection with God. I have a few books here written by famous Unity authors. The Golden Key. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Emmett Fox wrote a whole little book called The Golden Key. And he said, no matter what you're facing, whether it's sickness, whether it's all of a sudden you have no money, whether it's death of a loved one, your own lack of belief in yourself, you can golden key it. Simply put, you think only about God, not what he looks like, not his shape, because we know he's not outside us. You think of God within. Can you imagine that would just blow that imagination right out of, it would be so big it would not fit in this room. All of a sudden you would rekindle your dreams of vitality. And I wanted to show you this book, The Blind Girl Sees, by our own Amber Needham. Is that a testimony to imagination in action? You better believe it. I haven't read it, but I can't wait to read it. And if anybody sees this online, you better get it fast, because I'm sure she'll be running out of the first edition and going into second, third, and more. We have creative imaginations at work in this room. I thought about Julia Childs, who is such an amazing chef after going through agonies of learning how to cook. And then I thought, whoa, to Julia Childs, we have Nancy Youngson. And we have Don Briglio. They could cut the socks off Julia Childs any old time. I thought about, I can't even remember his name, that daredevil, Evel Knievel. Used to ride his motorcycles over chasms. And then I thought about our own Chuck Semple. He rides from Port Stanley to London, and with the traffic these days, he's an Evel Knievel in action. Not evil, though, good. Then I thought about Vidal Sassoon and all those famous hair people, and I thought of our own Scott Duncan. I thought about Florence Nightingale, who transformed nursing with her love, her nurturing, and her gentleness. And then I thought about our own Maeve. Who has transformed so many lives when she worked in palliative care and continues to transform lives. I thought about that woman who painted. Georgia O'Keeffe, was that her name? She painted little wee pictures. Her imagination ran rampant. Then I thought about our own Paula Cartland, who I understand painted a beautiful card last week and loves to be a designer. I could name each of you, but I better get back to my talk here. Charles Fillmore actually wrote a book called Christian Healing. It wasn't just Myrtle who talked about healing. And in his estimation, the highest and best work of the imagination is the marvelous transformation that it works in character. Think of the times that you have been tested. Maybe it was a sudden pain and you weren't used to pain. Maybe it was a failure at something you love to do and you weren't used to failure. And most of the famous inventors went through failure after failure after failure. We always hear about Edison, who said, I just came up with 1,000 billion ways that it didn't work. Their characters were tested and they met the test, and imagination blossomed. Are you facing any tests right now? Is your character growing through the vivid use of your imagination? Guess I better turn it right side up. Nope. Oh, well. A new life about to be born. And the mother imagining that new life and the tiny girl with her head listening to the heartbeat. At one time, you were all about to be born, and somebody was imagining your life. I love these two pictures because it's a young boy with his dad, and I don't know if you can, I guess you can see it. The dad has a straw hat to keep off the sun. He gives the boy a big leaf to keep off the sun. That's imagination at work, using something small to assist. And in the bottom picture, that same young boy, oh no, laptop computer with his grandma helping. Albert Einstein said it. Logic will get you from A to be. Imagination will take you everywhere. Isn't that a wondrous thought? And I'm not against logic, Chris and Lorraine. I didn't forget about the two of you who bring your brilliance and your creative energies to your work. But mixed in with your logic, I'll bet, is imagination. Put your hand up if you love reading. Yay, yay. Oh, almost every hand is up in this room. Look at this, Amber. All these potential readers for you. And whether you're a little boy out in the meadow or a little girl in her own fantasy world, the book that was written came from imagination, and our reading takes us on wondrous flights of imagination. Yay for books. I had to show this little girl because she was happy just to be alive. You might think she doesn't have much. Maybe she doesn't need much to be happy. What about you? And I don't know if this is the imagination of the senior remembering himself as a little boy, or the little boy imagining how he will be as a senior someday. Imagination at work. John 1, verse 50. You shall see greater things than these. So if you feel sometime as if your world is constricted, it's just a little box. You can create a bigger box and a bigger box and a mansion through your imagination. I know that Sylvia recently went traveling all around the place to the Netherlands. And she told me her favorite spot was in the Netherlands, where somebody had constructed this amazing machine. You have to ask her about it. Of all the places she saw, that struck her as exhibiting the greatest imagination. I envision good unfolding in every area of my life. I invite you to say that right now, out loud if you're in Nelson, and out loud if you're at home. I envision good unfolding in every area of my life. And perhaps that's the golden keying that Emmett Fox talked about. I love this definition of spiritual vision. And it's from my little worn out, wondrous book. Sylvia remembers this book, and probably Dawn does too. We used it in our prayer chaplaincy training. And it's by Rev. Winifred Wilkinson Houseman. And in it are all the powers described. And she describes spiritual vision this way: the state of being so at one with the source that you see with the eyes of spirit. You look with perfect sight without thinking about it. You are one with God, and you see as God sees. Is that mind-boggling? You see as God sees. Imagine if you walk out of this building today, you walk down the street, you see some ramshackly, not so clean looking person shuffling along the street. And you might see as you used to see, or you might see as God sees. And if you would see as God sees, what do you see? You see divine presence. You see love. You see faith. You see hope. If you see as God sees, just take a look through the New Testament and you'll see how many times Jesus saw as God sees with spiritual vision. Here are 4 ways to expand your imagination, just in case it's here. Maybe it's not. I don't want to insult you. You might be here. But for the days that might be the little wee, you, for some reason, you lost your oomph. That happened to me this week. I'm telling you, I had to get it back. And all I had to do was walk in here and do that happy song that Larry puts on. And got my oomph back, I'll tell you. So erase and replace. Renee will know about erase because she works in classrooms. You erase the chalkboard. Everything that you don't want, you erase. What are you seeing? How are you seeing it in terms of everyday life? How do you see your partner? How do you see your status in life? How do you see your expectations? If any of that is dark or dim or unpleasant or awful, erase it. Let it go and replace it with a positive, bright, vibrant new vision. Takes time, but it works. Just consider what is circling around in your mind right now. Are you thinking, oh, I can't wait to get out into the sunshine, Pauline. Hurry up and finish. Are you thinking, what can I have for lunch today? What delicacies will Nancy have created and put out there in the fellowship room? Or are you considering a walk in the woods? Or you're considering, no, I erase that. Not going to think about that one. Consider what is in your head and what you're imagining. Accept what works and reject what doesn't work. Accept the good, uplifting, bright, vibrant parts and reject the rest. You know, in factories where they've got those big, long assembly lines and somebody stands there and there go by all the little objects and they say, oh, that one doesn't work. It doesn't work. That one doesn't work. Pretend that's the assembly lines in your head. And you sort it out and you figure out what works, what doesn't work. And pay attention to how your life is improving, how it's expanding, how all of a sudden you feel happier, stronger, more spiritually connected with divine presence in you, in yourself, and everyone around you. That is how you can really expand your imagination. I had to show John Lennon because one of my very, very favorite songs is Imagine. And every time I find the song, I find a little more about the history. And Yoko Ono was very responsible for this song. And John actually confessed that in his macho state at the time, he didn't give her credit, but he felt he should have given her credit. And there were churches, many churches, who accepted the whole song except for one part. And I'll tell you about that one part in a minute. Imagine there's no heaven. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. And then he said in the chorus, you might think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only dreamer. There are lots of us around, lots of us with vision. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Whoops. Come back to that later. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You might think I'm a dreamer, but there are lots of us. And the numbers are growing all the time. Imagine no possessions. And some critics said, well, what a hypocrite. He's living in a mansion. He's got all those possessions. And a natural response is he didn't say, imagine giving away all your possessions. He said, imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You might think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I know someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Now, World Church Organization came to him and said, no religion? Could you just change no religion to one religion? And he said, I don't think so. That would defeat the whole purpose. No religions. And he explains in an interview, and the interview was about a prayer book that Dick Gregory gave to him and Yoko Ono. The concept of positive prayer. If you can imagine a world of peace with no denominations of religion, not without religion, but without this, my God is bigger than your God, then it can be true. Do you see the distinction? Wondrous distinction. And I couldn't leave without Charles and Myrtle. And I did bring up Myrtle's book. Because Myrtle also talked about heaven. And this was what she said when she wrote something for Wee Wisdom. In answer to many inquiries about heaven, this is what Myrtle wrote. The big folks have a place fixed up in mind, so beautiful and so blissful they can never half describe it. And sickness and death, sorrow and want have no presence there. They fixed it up way off somewhere in the skies and expect someday, some way to get into it and stay there always. Now, my wisdoms, it is not one of wisdom's ways to expect. That enchanting somewhere you have fixed with such grace and beauty is yours now. If you will throw away the ugly thoughts and skimpy patterns of life as it seems to the mortal of you. You are kings and queens in the realms of mind, and there's nothing too beautiful or too good to be true. At some other spot in her book, she said, you don't have to believe everything that Unity tells you either. It's up to you what you choose to believe. So if you're sitting there thinking, but I want to believe in heaven, I want to believe that the person I loved is in a place of beauty and peace and I will meet them one day. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You get to choose. You get to imagine however you want your afterlife to be. And that, my friends, is the power of imagination. In the coming week, I invite you to explore your own imagination. Catch yourself. Whoops, reject that one. Accept that one. And if it's getting too puny and too small, then blow it back up again. Let us now go into meditation. I invite you to breathe in. Breathe in vitality. Breathe in positive potential. Breathe in all that is good and wondrous in our world, and there is much. Absorb all the good as divine presence in you, living through you. And in the words of Eric Butterworth, see yourself through mental imagination as projecting positive power. Thinking and saying what is positive and creative. Let what you think and what you say be said with animation in a way that truly represents you in the fullest, most powerful way. In the next few moments, I invite you to use your imagination to blossom like the buds in the garden. I'll let you know when our time is fulfilled. as we return, may our spiritual vision be so large, so bright, so wondrous that it fills our imagination with light of divine presence. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Pauline for that talk. And one of the things that occurred to me during your presentation, Pauline, today, when I was looking at that tiny little yellow balloon, is that sometimes what happens is we are in places where we can't imagine anything different or anything new or anything better. We can be in dark places. And so what we need sometimes is for people to hold that vision for us and to be an inspiration for us. And so today, I'd really like to thank you for just being that inspiration for us to give by giving such a powerful, simple explanation of imagination and concrete steps that we can take, like erase and replace. Yeah, you don't like it? Get rid of that thought. What else are you going to think? So that we too can get that big yellow bright balloon back up and into a wonderful size with smiles on our face. So Pauline, thank you very much for that inspirational talk this morning on imagination. I am grateful.
I have a dream of what I wanna be. I wanna be free. That's what my heart keeps telling me. Give me your hand.
We'll find a way.
There's people out there
They feel the same.
if we help each other. I just know we can succeed. We are one, but we are different. We from all around the world. We share the same sun, we share the same oceans. We are every boy and girl. Come together and share our dreams. We be amongst the stars, and we know that it's destiny. And we are unity. We are unity.
I do believe. Oh, I believe in destiny. It's up to me to make it into reality.
Give me your hand.
We'll find a way.
People out there,
Let's feel the same.
if we help each other,
I just know we can succeed.
we are one, but we are different. We from all around the world. We share the same sun, we share the same oceans. We are every boy and girl. Come together and share our dreams. We be amongst the stars, and we know that it's destiny. That we are unity. No matter where you're from or who oceans. Oh,
We are one, but we are different. We're from all around the world. We share the same sun, we share the same ocean. We are every boy and girl. Come together and share our dreams. We be amongst the stars. And we know that it's destiny. That we are unity. We are unity.
And so today we appreciate your sharing of time with us today, and we welcome all newcomers to our service. We are grateful for all who choose to offer to the source that nurtures them spiritually. We honor our many members who share their talent, time, and abundance with our community. And so the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yay, God. And so now our peace song. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. And so I'm just wondering if there's anyone in the fellowship hall or anyone on Zoom that would like to comment on Pauline's talk today before you